This talk is sponsored by Talent Tactics and Amplified Story. Thank you and welcome to part 3 of our series. We're going to talk about networking, or what I like to refer to it as talking to people. Networking seems like such an intimidating term, but it's really just talking to people. I remember the first time I ever went to a large member mingle. I was told that networking was the thing, you had to do networking. So I paid $50 and went to this networking event. And I ended up spending half the day or half the evening in the corner not talking to anyone. And I left afterwards and I said, this is terrible. I don't like doing this. This was a waste of time. Little did I know that I was really missing out on a huge opportunity. And what I'm hoping here is I'm going to show you how to actually enjoy these networking events just a little bit more. So much so that now when I walk into the room, I see friends, acquaintances, people I haven't seen in a couple of years. People come and talk to me rather than I trying to engage people in conversation. It's a really great feeling, and I hope that after sharing some of this stuff, you'll be able to take it and use it and also start enjoying these networking events. But before I do, I would really like to get some reality checks into you. So reality check number 1 is no one ever gets a job without talking to people. You need to talk to people in order to get a job. Even if you're sending out resumes behind a computer constantly, eventually you're going to have to talk to a person in the interview process to get hired. There hasn't been anyone that's been hired by, hey, I just looked at your LinkedIn profile, you start on Monday. It just doesn't happen. You have to talk to people. So you have to get out and start talking to people. Reality check number 2, no stranger is going to help you. In that sense, what I mean is if you meet 100 people and you shake 100 people's hands, you get 100 business cards and you never talk to them again, you've just wasted your time. Strangers do not help you. I'll give you an example. Say you have a best friend who's looking for a position. You happen just to stumble upon somebody who is looking for that position. Out of the blue, somebody emails you and says, hey, I'm looking for this similar position. If you know of anyone or any company, please let me know. Who are you going to help? This complete stranger just emailed you, or your best friend of years and years? You're going to help your friend. Same thing applies. So what you need to really do is when you're networking, you need to connect with people multiple times. And I suggest 5 times a year. Now, what's too much, what's too little? It's really up to you. But the rule of thumb is more than 3 times, or more than once every 3 weeks is a little too much. Less than once every 3 months is a little too little. So, the sweet spot is over 3 weeks, under 3 months that you connect and you touch base, and I'll show you how at the end of this video here. Reality check number 3 is you need to have a focused scope when you're looking for work. Let's say you want to be a baker, a mechanic, and a journalist. Well, because you're so spread out and you're sort of looking for all these jobs, you're going to miss a lot of opportunities because you yourself don't really know what you want. You want 3 different careers. So ultimately what you have to do is you have to focus on one. Say you're a baker, you want to focus on baking. So you create your LinkedIn profile, you create your resume, you reach out and you network with people that you're interested in becoming a baker. And so you really need to have a focused outlook on your job search. No one is going to give you a job and you say, look at all the wonderful things I can do. They want to know that specific skill set that you have. Reality check number 4. Ready for this? You're not going to like it, but when you're unemployed, your goal is to meet 100 people. And the reason for that is meeting 100 people is going to take a while. You got time. It's going to actually give you a full-time job and something to do when you get up in the morning after you've sent off your resumes. You got time to kill. So you're going to meet 100 people. The reason why is direct marketing says that when you sent out a message, you went to 4%. You're going to only 1 to 4% you're going to get a positive response. So out of 100 people that you're going to meet, maybe 1 to 4 of them will be able to lead you or steer you in the right direction. So you're going to go out and meet 100 people, and these 100 people, you're going to be interacting with them about 5 times a year until such time as you get that job. Once you get that job, you're not done. You can sort of lower your number, but your goal is 25 professionals are going to constantly interact on a regular basis. And the idea behind that is if you do lose your job again, you're not starting from scratch. So many people do this mistake. They lose their job, they go out, they network, they find, and when they finally are employed again, they quit doing it. And the reality here in Alberta is it's a boom and bust economy. You're going to have good times and you're going to have bad times. You're eventually, if you work in Alberta, you are going to get laid off. So you got to really keep your network warm and alive and interact with them on a regular basis. Reality check number 5, nothing ever happens at home. Watching Netflix on the couch is great. Your brain loves it. It doesn't have to do a lot, but it doesn't do a lot for your career. You need to get out and be an active member in the community. You need to go out and volunteer. Now, Part 4 really talks about how to get out into your community and get involved, gives you ideas on how to get involved. But you truly need, when you're networking, get out of the house. Nothing happens in your house. When you drive in, open your garage door, drive into your garage and close your garage door and don't talk to any of your neighbors. No one knows that you're looking for work. No one knows what your skill set is, what you do, that sort of thing. So you got to be out there and you got to be an active member in your community. So when you're out there and you're meeting people, you're not asking for a job because no one's going to say that they have a job for you when you, hey, do you have a job? What you're doing is you're generating and getting ideas. You're asking people to look at your resume for tips, tricks, ideas, how to make it better, improve it. You're looking for information, resources, leads, assistance, advice, additional material, articles. You're just building your network and you're trying to gain as much information because the more information you have, the more confident you can be with your job search, with your resume, with your networking, and that sort of thing. So really, you're leveraging your network as resources of information, not a way to get a job. When you're meeting these people, you really have to be asking yourself, how can I help that individual? Is there something? Is there a skill set? Is there a hobby? Is there an activity that you can do, that can help this individual to solve their problem that they're facing? So when you're meeting with people, ask them, what's a current challenge for you? What are you struggling with? What's the one thing that would really help your life right now? And you'll be surprised at the question or the answers that you get. And some of those things you might be able to help directly, or because you're expanding your network, you actually might know of somebody that could help them and you connect those individuals. So you got to reframe your thinking and think about how you can help others rather than how you can help yourself. You got to stop asking, do you have a job? Do you have a job? Do you have a job? Do you have a job when you're networking? Most people will not have a job for you, but they might know of individuals who might be able to lead you or steer you in the right direction. So you got to change the way you're asking your questions. And the way you're going to start asking your questions now is, do you know somebody in the industry, company, or position? Let me give you an example. I was giving a similar talk at Fort Calgary, and I asked, how many of you know of a position for a mechanical engineer that's open right now? Not a single hand went up. Then I asked, how many of you know mechanical engineers? 4 hands went up. Then I said, how many of you know companies that hire mechanical engineers? An additional 5 hands went up. And then I asked, how many people know people in the industry where mechanical engineering is required? 6 people put their hands up. So from getting 0 hands to 15 people had some way of connecting, interacting, or leading you to an individual. So you can see how phrasing that question really opens a lot more doors than, do you have a job for me? So those are your key things: the industry, the company, and the position. Do you know somebody in? You're going to stop asking, do you have a job for me? When you're networking, you're going to talk to everyone. You just don't know people's life stories, how they can help, who they know. The person at the park might know a CEO of a great company, might be brother or sister of a CEO of a great, big, huge company. Or that stay-at-home mom is actually developing her own business and she needs some additional help that she can't pay anyone right now. Startups are a huge opportunity where they can't offer you anything, but I'll give you a great example. A friend of mine's brother moved to San Francisco, and he worked for 7 startups for free. You know what his 7th startup was? He was the 7th employee. I'm not making this up. It was Uber. He just came back to Calgary and he bought his parents and his sister a house, right? So there's a great opportunity for startups, especially if you're unemployed, you want to get some experience, some skills. If you know of any startups that are just looking for additional hands, they don't have a lot of capital, it's a great way to get your foot in the door. And if it takes off, well, you have your golden ticket. And if it doesn't, make sure you have an exit strategy. Business cards. I don't know what it is. People still love their paper. Go to Staples, get yourself 100, 200 business cards. And when you're networking, when somebody offers or asks for it, make sure you have it handy. Always have it on you in a pocket, in your wallet, whatever it may be. It's just a great way to connect. If you don't have a business card and they do, take a picture of it. Or ask them to type in their information on the phone. Everyone has now a smartphone. Take the opportunity, take pictures of people's business cards. That way you might have to carry less or anything like that. Don't be negative when you're networking. No one likes a Debbie Downer, right? People want to be around positive individuals. So always be upbeat, no matter how much you're struggling, what kind of issues are going on in your life. When you're meeting people for the first time, impressions matter. Be positive. How many of you know the individuals that you just stopped asking how they are because they actually told you how they are? How are you, Dave? Oh, you know what? I have this rash on my hand. I think my foot's infected, right? And what do? You stop asking Dave how you are, right? So don't be an emotional vampire. Don't suck the energy out of people. Don't overshare. A great way to know whether you're an emotional vampire is look around with your group of friends. And if you don't know who the emotional vampire is, chances are it's you, all right? And if people are not asking you how you are, that's also a given that you might be an emotional vampire. The great thing is your body and your mind don't know, so you can fool it. So, for example, you can actually fake yourself to be happy. You can fake yourself to be proud. If I go like this, my body says I'm proud, and so my brain goes, well, his body is saying I'm proud, so I must be proud. You can do the same thing with happiness. Fake it until you make it. It really is true. When you are out there and you're networking and meeting people, set yourself a goal of meeting 7 people. So whatever event you're going to, you're going to waste a lot of time if you meet 35 people once. Meet, interact with people on a networking event. And if you click with someone, you have a little bit of chemistry, you enjoy their company, circle back around them, talk to them for another 5 minutes, leave for 10, 15, do your walk around, and then come back to them. The third time around, you're going to be old chums. You're going to be looking forward to that interaction in the next event. This is where people fail the most. They meet people, they network, they exchange information, and they never talk to each other again. Because why? Well, they can't get me a job. You just never know where those opportunities are. And so a rule of thumb that I have is reach out to a person 5 times a year, whether it's just, hey, how are you? What's going on? I saw you updated your LinkedIn profile. Happy birthday, happy anniversary. LinkedIn is great for that. Just constantly interact with people throughout the year, get their guard down, changing you from a stranger into a friend, acquaintance, a peer, a cohort. Don't forget to follow up. Following up is one of the core issues that people have and face, that they just don't do it. They'll meet a person once and they'll never do it again. So a great trick is sending people an email every once in a while. I actually have a list of sort of my 25 contacts that I have, and every time I connect with them, I put a little date stamp in Google Sheets. It's a great service. And then, if I haven't spoken to somebody in a really long time, I reach out, see how I am. It becomes second nature. You actually are curious to see what they're up to. And especially if they're successful individuals, that you might get ideas, generate projects together. It's phenomenal. Commenting on people's posts. Everyone on LinkedIn wants to say, hey, look how wonderful I am. Well, you have to do that activity and you have to be involved again. You have to be an active community member on LinkedIn and like people's posts, comment on people's quotes, post your own articles, right? One of the things if you generate your own content, your original content, they get more traffic than if you sort of copy a link of an interesting article. If you generate your own material, again, you're unemployed, you have a little bit of time to write a couple of articles. And lastly, if you've updated your resume, send that resume out and say, hey, just updated my resume. I've talked to 25 people. I got their input in. What do you think? And that might generate, you're not asking for work, but it might generate an idea. Oh, you know what? I've just heard about this opening, or you changed this, or who you should talk to? You should talk to this individual. don't forget to follow up. It's one of the key mistakes a lot of people do. They go out, they meet so many people, and it's what I call busy work. Get meaningful relationships and try to build a powerful network. And that's a little bit about networking, but what I'm going to talk to you about next is the super secrets of talking to people. So super secret number one, and I'm going to lose count, so bear with me here, is say a person's name 3 times when you meet them. So, hi Matt, nice to meet you, Matt. Matt, why are you here? You've now said that person's name 3 times. It's going to be encoded into your brain a lot easier than I'm sure all of us experience of you met somebody's name and you're so busy on thinking about what you're going to say next that you've forgotten their name. So say a person's name 3 times, you won't forget. Have a 30-second info. Remember back on part 2, the more stressed you are, the more dumb you become. Well, if you're not comfortable with networking or talking to people, you're going to be stressed and you're going to forget not so much who you are, but you're going to have a hard time articulating why you're here, what you do, what you're looking for. So create yourself a 30-second script. When you're a large group of people, look at their feet. If their feet are pointing to each other, they're really engaged in the conversation. If their feet are sort of spread apart or there's room for an individual, that's where you should be going in and checking with people. How many times have you gone in, there's a large group of people, and you sort of try to go in and you're either ignored or brushed off and you're like, oh, that was rude. You're the rude one. You're the one that was sort of trying to go in on a very engaging conversation. Look for those spread feet. They're actually looking unconsciously. They're signaling that they're looking for somebody to join their conversation. If you're in a line, turn around and talk to the other person. You might not want to be so close as the graphic here, but I couldn't find a better graphic that kind of illustrated this point. But turn around and start talking to the other person. It's a great opportunity to meet people. Head tilt. For whatever reason, subconsciously, if somebody has their head tilted, the other person thinks that the other person is listening better or is more engaged in their conversation. So do a little head tilt. Don't do this because that's going to just be awkward, but just a little head tilt. Pruning. So this one is birds do it, and so when they make themselves pretty, but right before you meet somebody, just adjust yourself. So adjust your collar, brush your sleeve off, don't shove your hand down your pants or like pull out your wedgie or anything like that. But really what you're trying to do is, hey, I'm making myself beautiful for you. The other person subconsciously is not going to pick up on that, but they're going to go, oh, this person is making themselves pretty for me. That's what their brain is telling them, but they're not realizing that. So adjust yourself. And lastly, this is the super secret. This is the killer that kills all tips and makes you a very personable person. It's called a brow flash. We only do the brow flash with friends. And I'll give you an example. Hi, my name is Adam. Hi, my name is Adam. You see the difference? We only do brow flashes with friends. So as soon as we do a brow flash to a complete stranger, their guard goes down because they only see that behavior with friends and they automatically think that you're a much more friendlier, open person and is going to be able to connect and have chemistry with that person much quicker. So don't forget to do your brow flashes, but do not overdo it. It's a quick flash. You can kind of creep people out if you're doing this the whole time. So again, it's a quick flash and be genuine. What I'm teaching you here is Jedi mind tricks, but ultimately what you want to do is be yourself. These things are there to help you, to give you a little bit more confidence to be out there, to build your network so that you can enter the hidden job market. But ultimately, you do have to be yourself. And that's a little bit about networking. So thank you for listening. This talk is brought to you by Talent Tactics and Amplified Story. Thank you.